We have already some lectures available in this space related to the definition of case study and the main types of case study. The current lecture is aimed at giving a brief introduction to the concept of multiple case study as a research design. So what is multiple case study? Generally, multiple case study, as the very name suggests, involves in-depth exploration of two or more cases within a research context. Generally, this type of approach helps researchers to investigate complex social phenomena in various life contexts where there is need for some comparison. Each case is basically analyzed individually and then is compared with the other case, keeping in view the research objectives, and the aim is basically to identify common patterns across cases. Also, there is focus on finding possible similarities between the cases and differences across cases. Now, here is an example of multiple case study. For example, if you are interested in exploring this particular research topic, the quality education indicators across schools in a school district. So as you know that there are generally several schools, many schools in a school district, and we are interested in exploring these schools for possible quality indicators in terms of education. So there will be some sort of comparison. The objective of this particular research is to investigate how different types of school, for example, there are different types of schools in a school district generally. So how do these different types of schools implement and measure quality education indicators? So what are the quality education indicators that these different types of schools actually implement, and then how do these schools actually measure those indicators? So for example, we can, in this case, if we take three cases, case one is an urban public school, which is like the main characteristic of that school is or focus is on high enrollment and diverse student body. The focus of this school basically is on certain quality indicators such as access to resources, technology integration, and inclusive teaching practices. So these are the main quality indicators that this particular school focuses on. Secondly, case two is a private school in a suburban area, higher socioeconomic status. This school is basically for the sections of the society that are high, that actually indicate high socioeconomic statuses. The focus of this particular school in terms of quality indicators is on curriculum design, teacher qualification. So their focus, they for example, focus on recruiting teachers with higher qualifications and the professional development of them. And thirdly, parental involvement. Their focus is basically on the parental involvement in the process of education. The third school is a rural school, and this school has limited resources, and this school is basically representing a small community. Now, the focus of this particular school in terms of quality indicators is on community involvement in the educational process or in the school life, teacher-student relationships, and one of the characteristics is to deal with resource scarcity. Now, as we see that these three schools have different focuses and they cater to different sections of the society, and they represent their emphasis on the different types of quality indicators. So we want to know and to compare these schools for the quality indicators that they focus on. So the research question that we can have for this particular study include: number one, how do schools in the three contexts apply and measure quality education indicators? Second, what challenges and opportunities do these three types of school face in implementing quality education indicators? So as we know that the schools have different contexts and different priorities and different focuses. So what type of challenges and opportunities they will have will also vary. And so how do these challenges and these opportunities impact the quality of education in each of these schools? And lastly, what factors contribute to the success or failure of quality education initiatives that these different types of schools take across these three different types of schools? Now, in order to respond to these questions or to find answers to these research questions, we need to have a research design. So as we already discussed, it's a qualitative multiple case study research or multi-case study research. The data collection method generally in qualitative research include interviews. So in this case, we can have interviews with teachers, for example, important stakeholders in quality education. School administrators are also important stakeholders, similarly students and parents. So we can conduct interviews in order to understand their viewpoints, their perceptions regarding the quality of education that is offered in this particular school. In order to triangulate our data, we could also make use of observations in the classes or maybe outside the classes to assess the actual practices. So what is the type of educational delivery inside the classrooms, for example? How are students engaged? What different teaching methods are being used across these three different types of schools? For example, one type of school might focus on teacher-centered methodologies, while others might focus on student-centered methodologies, while a third one might make a combination of these two types. Similarly, what type of curriculum delivery mechanisms are in place? So these are things that generally are more useful in terms of when we make use of observations actually, or direct observation. Then we could also review the documents related to quality definitions of these schools and quality implementations. So for example, we could review and examine school reports, educational policies that reflect the practices in the school, and learning materials. So these are some of the things that we could review for exploring in terms of the quality dimensions. So once we collect data, we can then analyze, first of all, within case analysis, because we have three distinct cases here. So first of all, what we can do is each school is analyzed in detail in terms of finding the data or the results with reference to our objectives. So we could focus on an examination of how the indicators of quality education are implemented within each of these schools, independent of the other schools. So once we analyze that and we come up with certain themes, what we can do is we can then cross case analysis. We can do this which is like the second level of analysis, where we we do a comparative analysis of the schools in terms of the various quality indicators, and during this process what we can do is there will be identification of the patterns, common patterns or variations across the different schools. So what are the common practices, what are the common areas of focus, and what are the diverse areas or practices across schools? So at this stage, we will come across common themes such as, for example, importance of teacher quality or student engagement. In all of the three schools, there might be and equal importance given to teacher quality and student engagement. And there could also be different approaches to, for example, in some cases, the impact of community involvement. So one school might focus more on community involvement in terms of adding to the quality of education, while others might not deem this important, especially in the low socioeconomic areas where parents might be considered as perhaps less capable of adding to the quality of education. And similarly, in terms of resources, so as some of these schools are located in higher socioeconomic areas while others cater to the needs of the lower socioeconomic areas, so there might be diversity in terms of resource access as well. So there could be common themes, and there could be differences, and there are reasons for these commonalities and differences. So once the cross-case analysis is done, the next thing is to actually discuss our findings in terms of both within case analysis and cross-case analysis findings. So at this stage, what researchers can do is to compare expected outcomes based on existing theories with what is observed in the cases. So what do, for example, theories related to quality education offer us in the previous literature, and what we find from our empirical data through this study? We can compare and explain our findings in the light of existing theories or existing models of quality education. And as a result of this, and as a result of our critical analysis as researchers, what we can do is that we might be able to construct explanations for why certain indicators succeed or fail in particular environments, or why is it that certain schools have certain quality indicators while the other type of school does not have those indicators. And at this stage, our critical analysis could also help us in coming up with suggestions and recommendations for improving the quality of education, for bringing in more equity and parity in terms of quality education across the schools. So this is a simple example of multiple case studies, and I gave this example from the field of education. Multiple case studies could be conducted in other fields of social sciences and natural sciences, such as, for example, psychology or sociology or economics, and other such fields of education.